Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by the beautiful Jess Leigh. Jess, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I am doing very well. It's been a long time coming for us finally able to make this happen, and I am
Yay!
so glad that we are here finally doing this. But before we talk about why you're here, Jess, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. Jess is a writer and poet that lives in Brooklyn, New York. She writes poetry, fantasy, romance, erotica, and microfiction. So we were able to meet through the lovely world of Twitter. Um, how long have you been writing?
I've been writing my entire life, but I've been writing erotica for about 2 years,
Okay.
and writing like fantasy for about the same amount of time.
Okay. And where can people find some of your work?
You can find my work posted on Medium. You can also find me on Twitter at Soft Apocalypses, which has links to all of my work.
Well, the good thing about that, honestly, is you guys don't have to go far for those. And you don't even have to remember what she said because I have all her links down in the description. So make sure you're not only following her on social media, but make sure that you can stay up to date on everything that she's up to. But you can also check out all of her work there as well. So, are there any plans in the future of any physical releases of your stuff?
No, yes, there actually is something. Just remember, there's something coming out in September. I have a a short story in an erotica anthology put out by Cleus Press. So I'm really excited about that. But I don't have any links for any of that yet, but there will be.
Right. Well, I was going to say the best way that you guys can stay up to date on that is by following her on social media with the links that are already down in the description, because then you'll be
Yay!
able to get up to date on that. So, obviously, erotica, fantasy, there's always been this awesome connection between the world of erotica, the world of fantasy, and the world of horror. So, do you
Mhm.
ever incorporate any type of, and like when I say horror, I don't mean ghouls and goblins, but do you ever incorporate any type of horror into your writing at all?
I do. I love to write about like classic monsters. So I have a story with Frankenstein. I also really like to write about spells and witches. So I do a lot of that. I have a funny series that talks about how to date different kinds of monsters like zombies and a lot about I actually have more about talking about dating a zombie than I probably should have, but I have a lot of zombie erotica. And so I have a series like how to date a werewolf, how to date a vampire, like sort of done in like a funny article voice.
Right. And is that one of the ones that people can find?
Oh yeah, they're all a medium. They're all short pieces that are really easy to read. They're really fun. I also hold like Twitter spaces where I'll read a lot of that stuff aloud so that people can hear me and ask me questions about it. I do that every Wednesday night.
That's awesome. And you guys can check that out once again by clicking the link in the description. Make sure you're following Jess on Twitter as well, because like I said, not only for anything that's coming up to date, but Twitter spaces every Wednesday evening. So these are things that, we've always been a part of. Like you said, you've been writing your whole life, writing about fantasy your whole life, and more recently erotica. If this is too personal of a question, you don't have to answer.
Hmm.
What got you into wanting to write more erotica type things?
So I've been reading romance and that kind of in that genre for a long time. Like my master's is in poetry. I have a creative writing degree in poetry, so I've been writing poetry for over like 20 years. And there came a point where like I got sober about a year ago, and I was like, the poetry thing is fun, but I've been reading romance, I've been reading erotica for a long time. I want to give it a shot, because I didn't have anything to do with my nights anymore. And then it turned out that I was having a lot of fun, and my poetry in general and my sort of more serious artistry work is humor based in general, which within traditional creative writing circles is like not. No one wants to read a love poem about a meat grinder, or if they do, I have not found them yet.
Right.
So a lot of my like traditional work had already had this kind of strange energy, and erotica seemed to be a good spot for me. And I've found a home with it. Like I've gotten a good following, and a lot of people who support me really like how weird I write. So works out.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
happy.
bigger than that. That's amazing. I'm not trying to downplay what you just said, but bigger than that, congratulations on your year of sobriety.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you so much.
that to me, I'm also a recovering addict as well. So hearing anybody's story of overcoming addiction, no matter what it may be, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, it doesn't matter. An addiction's an addiction, and they are all very, very hard to kick, and that's why they're an addiction. So I'm very, very proud of you on
Thank you.
sobriety. I know that it is a never-ending road. The temptations are always there. So just know you have plenty of people out here that you can reach out to if you ever feel like that wagon's getting a little rickety and you need someone to straighten it out for you. So
Thank you.
very, very proud, because that's something that, like I said, me personally, it's something I've dealt with, and to see how great you're doing and the connections that me and you have been able to make with each other. I think that you are an amazing writer. I think you're an amazing person, and that just adds to how great I think you are. So
thanks.
no problem. Now, you said, you've been reading romance, reading erotica for a very long time. And one misconception about romance, erotica, literature is that it's just smut, dirty, nasty slut work. There's a lot that goes behind making erotica, writing erotica. What are some of the struggles you find when it comes to writing something that again, I'm trying to be as sensitive as I can. A lot of people look at that and go, oh, it's just smut, you talk about fucking, but like, what makes it a little bit, what are some of the challenges to overcome when you're writing erotica?
Well, I think one of the things that, a lot of my work, and I don't know if I'm going to answer this question directly. Let's go on a journey and find out. I think one of the things that like my work is based in is the idea that the people who are on the page are connecting with each other. It's not just about sex, it's also about love and connection. And even if it's just smut, there's still some kind of connection based within love. There is a kind of erotica that is just sort of, straight up sex, and that's fine. And that's a really important part of the genre. But for me, I like to see, sort of relationships and exploring how we interact with each other. And part of that is sort of, my entire online presence in this, in this anonymous identity that is Jess Leigh, is to really normalize how we talk about sex, how we think about sex. Like, you can be a mother and you can love sex. You can be an artist, you can love sex. You can be anyone that you want to be, and you can still get to tell the story of how you enjoy sex, And I think
it's a natural thing, like it's not, it's always going to be taboo. There's always going to be that group of people that consider sex a taboo thing, but it's literally a part of life. Without it, you wouldn't be here without it.
It's true. And the one misconception is that like someone who's writing erotica, someone who's writing romance, someone who's writing, they have like amazing and diverse sex lives. And there's this assumption that like, you're going to be doing that you're going to have an OnlyFans and that you're accessible to people in that way. And that's where I find the struggle. Cause I'm like, I can't see any more dicks, man. Like, I can't see any more unsolicited dicks. I can't do it. I'm just writing love stories and love poems. Like, come on.
And that to me is the biggest bummer. Just because I wouldn't get a hold of Stephen King and send him pictures of dead bodies, like.
No, and you wouldn't expect him to be murdering people as case studies for his work. And if he is, good for him, but still, no.
Like, we need to get over this taboo thing of, hey, this woman writes erotica stuff. Let's see if she's ever seen a penis like mine. Trust me, she probably has, and even better. So stop doing it. If I was writing that, I guarantee you a bunch of women wouldn't be sending me pictures of their genitals because they know better. It's just like, you are an author. You are an erotica author, but above that, you are a human being, and you should be treated with dignity and respect. So please, anybody, remember that. Just because somebody writes erotica or they perform erotica doesn't mean they want to see what you look like or what you do erotically. Please remember that.
And furthermore, we don't really want to we don't, even if we wanted to see that, we don't have to make excuses for that. Like, there are women who do that and they enjoy it, and that's part of their work, and that's fine, but don't assume that,
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's there's a huge difference between just sending something and someone asking you to do so.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just, maybe I'm too old school. I would never have the balls to do that to somebody. I've been married for 18 years as well, so that might be a big part of it, but I would just be way too scared to have that out there. I'm a big coward. So now I love to know how everything, is going with you. And you guys, I'm going to say it once again, you can stay up to date with that by clicking the links down in the description and following Jess on social media. But I want to go back to the past now. We've talked about the future, but now I want to learn how horror started for you. Like, what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie, and Jess, the first horror movie that you watched was?
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
What an amazing, amazing start to your horror life. I adore this movie. So, do you remember about how old you were the first time you had seen it?
I was 5 or 6. I had to call my mom. I was like too fucking young to be exposed to that. And the setting is like wasn't really watching it. I like wandered in from another room and like kind of was watching it a little bit with my family, and then they saw that I was there, and they were like, "Oh, she's not upset." And then the part with the clown drinking the blood out of the cotton candy bag, I was like,
Mhm.
"No, no, this is too much for me," and I left the room. I could not take it anymore. And the fucked up thing is that my mom was like, "Oh." So then we tried another horror movie, but I don't even remember which one it was. It was in the same couple of weeks, because that one had gotten into my head so hard. So it wasn't for a long while later until I actually started watching more horror movies. Um, and then in my early teens, for like 7 years, I dressed as a clown for Halloween because it was the scariest fucking thing I could think of. And I used those like faces for like I used all the faces from the movie to dress up every year.
Yeah, that's so amazing. So, yeah, and this is a movie, like I said, you were a very, very young girl at the time you would watch this, and you were, you're with family. Like I said,
Yeah.
you stumble into it, but what we got to remember is clowns aren't inherently scary to us. When you see a clown, you think they're funny, they're cute, they're whatever. But when you stumble into something like this at a young age,
Yeah.
this can really mess you up. We watch it now, great practical effects, horror comedy, but at a young age, this can be very scary. So you touched on it a little bit, but the scene of the clown when they got the cotton candy pods, was that the one that affected you the most from the film?
I think so. That's the one that sticks out to me because I've seen it since and I can't like fully recall every scene because that scene always takes like appears in my mind.
You definitely never eat cotton candy the same again after that.
No, every time I think about it.
And it's again one of those things where there's a lot of scenes in this movie that are very over the top like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Like you got the scene of "I'll knock your block off," and punches the head off the guy's body. Things like that. It's
Yeah. See, and then like
there-
as I got older, like I saw that like again, I started to work for like a rep theater in my 30s, and they
Mhm.
showed like horror movies, which was always the best attended. Like they would show old school horror movies on 35 millimeter prints and stuff. And
That's awesome.
yes, and I would like do intros for different films, the ones that I knew. And that film is hilarious, but I didn't know it was hilarious until I was in my 30s because I would never
Right.
watch it.
Right. And that's it. You go back and you're watching it and you're like, man, I mean, I think this happens with everybody with horror movies that they see when they were kids. Like, for some reason, I remember the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre being a whole lot more bloody and graphic and gory than the movie actually is. It's definitely more of an art film than it is a slasher film. But I
Yeah.
remembered it just being so bloody and so gory and so scary. And I remember going back and rewatching it and just being like, man, this really is not that bloody or gory at all. Like, there's definitely a lot more to be said about the cinematography of Texas Chainsaw Massacre than there is the kills in that movie. So, we talked
Yeah,
about
when
the cotton candy. Oh no, go ahead.
No, sorry. Like, I feel like watching films at like a young age can go the other way too. Like, I remember watching Death Becomes Her and thinking that movie was the best movie ever made, and like how it was like I loved the necklace that the woman wore over her boobs and like how pretty they become. But that movie is fucking weird. I watched it again in my 30s. It is a weird ass movie, but I was like,
Yeah,
wow, this is the best movie ever. This is my favorite movie. I watched
you
it
know
with
that
my
they just
husband and we
announced a
were like,
remake of that, right?
yeah, I'm not gonna. I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Bruce Willis, Goldie Hawn, like that is just such a
Yeah.
fantastic film. And you're right, it's weird, but you're right. As a kid, I watched it and just thought it was hilarious. When she
Yeah.
gets shot, so I thought it was a hilarious movie. Watch it now, you're like, this movie's really off the wall.
This is like a feminist manifesto. I was ahead of my time. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I mean, and that is one of those movies that, like I said, I'm with you. I don't think. I mean, I'll probably check out the remake just out of sheer curiosity, but
Yeah.
I'll go in extremely low on my anticipation. Like I won't be. I don't think I'll expect too much out of it.
Yeah. I
So
might not even read anything about it. I don't even know. I can't even remember who's in it, and I don't want to know.
me neither. Yeah, I can't. I can't remember at all.
Mm. I'm doing the same
Um,
level of expectation for Indiana Jones. I will
Yeah,
not. I went into Crystal Skull with high hopes and I was let the hell down.
trust me. I completely agree. Like, I still haven't seen the new one yet, and it's not about a boycott or I don't want to see it. I just don't, I'll watch it when it comes out on streaming and stuff, but there's so much more that, that looks so much better to me that I want to
Yeah.
see that
Yeah.
I'm going to save my money and I'll go see
Totally.
that instead. But um, when it comes to Killer Clowns, we talk about which scene affected you the most, but what would you say your favorite scene from that movie is? Do you have like a favorite scene from the film?
No, I don't.
I don't know
Sorry.
why, but I'll always be partial to the dinosaur puppet scene. Like that's one that always for me was just so over the top and ridiculous, but it looked so amazing and it scared me as a kid. I love it now. And we talked a second ago, we about the Death Becomes Her remake. That's something that we're going to be getting here in the near future. But I always ask people because obviously remakes, sequels, kind of all the rage in Hollywood. And is Killer Clowns a movie that you would like to see remade today?
Actually, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
I want to see it
again,
remade.
out of morbid curiosity, I think I would go watch it, but I would just be so hopeful that they would keep it practical. Don't put a bunch of crazy CG into it.
Yeah.
If you want to do a little stop motion like they did in the original, that's cool, but I just don't want to see a like over the top CG version of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, just in my opinion.
Yeah. I'd want to see more of the circus. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh
That'd
yeah.
be cool.
Well, I even like a
I like
requel, like something
sideshow
like
characters or something like that. I don't know.
yeah, something that takes place 30 years from when the movie happened, and we can see what
Yeah.
happens in the future of it. Like that, I think that would be super cool too. So,
Mhm.
we talked about Killer Clowns from Outer Space, your first horror movie, Jess, and what that movie means to you. But here for a second, my little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Jess? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Shaun of the Dead. That
Dawn?
movie's Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
I love that movie.
Oh, Shaun of the Dead is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And
I
I've said
watch
this
it
1,000.
whenever I feel sad or like whenever it's like one of my pickup movies. There's like a handful of those where you can just put it on anytime and you'll feel better. That movie, the opening scene where he like uh where he's like walking and then he does it again with the zombies and to get his Coronado. I love that scene. I love that so much. It's the best scene in cinema. So good. Two scenes.
I love that, and I love the part where like they all meet up and like their gangs are like the exact same people.
I love that.
Like, that's so awesome. And I've talked about this. Shaun of the Dead, the worst thing about this movie, and I will die on the hill, the worst thing about that movie is the title. Because people hear the name Shaun of the Dead and they think it's like Scary Movie or Airplane. And
Yeah.
it's not a spoof movie. Like it is its own movie with its own plot.
Yep.
It's got great scares in it. It's got genuine comedy. There are two moments in this film that make me weep like a fucking baby. When stepdad dies and when Barbara dies. Like both those moments make me over the top sad. Like when,
Yeah.
he's in the backseat with Sean and he's like, you were already so old when I met you. It was hard to be your father. I just wanted to be someone you could look up to. People get that. I felt that moment.
Mhm.
And when Sean's like, please, mom, no, like that's, oh my God, that whole scene is so good.
Yeah.
I'll die on the hill. Favorite horror comedy of all time, Shaun of the Dead. Like that's why I was shocked. I was like, did you say Dawn? Like, what's going on here? Like, that's so fucking rad, dude. Because I love that movie so much. Like, it's so good. I could literally do a whole podcast for hours about how amazing Shaun of the Dead is.
I agree, and I think Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost do a really good job together. Like they just all of the movies of the Coronado trilogy, all three of them are really good. They're like all spot on versions of what you would want those kinds of films to be.
Which is funny because when at World's End came out, The World's End, I didn't like it when it came out. I was riding this high of like, yeah, exactly. I watched it. Me and my son watched the whole Coronado trilogy about 3 months ago, and The World's End was his favorite of the three. And I was like, really? Like, for me, day by day, it's different between Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. Like, I love
Hot Fuzz is so good too.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. But like both of those movies to me are just so good, like so awesome. And then like The World's Ended, it was a little over my head when it came out. Like it was just so much happening at one time. And I was just like, I don't know how I feel about this. And I sat on it for years and we watched it. And I was like, this movie's hilarious. Like there's a lot of really funny moments in The World's End. So,
Mhm.
um, oh, like I said, I could talk for days and days about the Coronado trilogy in general. Like, Ashley will tell everybody, like, I used to have Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz on the same DVD, and I would put that on repeat at night when we went to bed. And I could wake up at any time, and it would either be Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz, and I could just start saying the words of what they were saying right when I woke up. Like,
Mhm.
I could say both of those movies, like, front to back. Like, which one? Which one do you recommend? I mean, which one first? Like
Which one first?
Yes, I love that movie, man. So I again, I want to thank you for taking the time to come and hang out with me and talk about some of your work as an author, some of the things that you've done in your life, to talk about Killer Clowns from Outer Space and Shaun of the fucking Dead. But before I let you go, we always end this with the same question. We're going to bounce back to Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And what we're going to do here, Jess, is rank this movie on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking it on acting, production, score, direction, none of the above. What we're doing is strictly ranking Killer Clowns from Outer Space on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Jess, what would your ranking of Killer Clowns from Outer Space be?
Like 2.5.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I mean, like you said, it's one of those movies you walked in, you seen it, you watched a little bit, and you ran off. So I totally get, not being able to finish it. So I'm totally understanding on that. But I know we said it at the beginning, guys, and I know I said it in the middle too. But all of her social media links are down in the description. So make sure that you are following her. I can't recommend it enough. She's an amazing follow. She's going to make you laugh. She's going to make you lustful. She's going to do a whole bunch of things for you when you are reading through her tweets. And especially if you check in with her on one of her lives. What is it? What are those called? That's not live on Twitter. It's
Twitter Space.
Twitter
Spaces.
Space. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm so used to saying live because of YouTube, but if
Mhm.
you go into one of her Twitter Spaces and you listen to some of the stuff that she reads, you're really going to enjoy me. You're going to find a lot of enjoyment out of it. So clear your Wednesday schedules in the evening and make time for Jess Leigh on Twitter. So, Jess, please don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel more than you could ever know. And until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.